welcome, Will Moore. Hi, Will.
Hello
Hope you're
there.
doing great. Yeah, and you look pumped. It's still early in the States, but you look ready to go. And I don't want to lose a lot of words. I'll just say, yeah, let's all enjoy your perspective. I know you got a lot to say, and let's hear what you have to say.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. So, first off, Manuel and Ann, that was awesome. I definitely, when we get into the panel, have some things I want to talk about in relation to your talks. Really vibed and gelled with a lot of the things you were saying, ties into what I'm doing and my mission. So, let's get into that. So, as Robert mentioned earlier, I did have an exit of my company this past year for over $300 million. Ironically, it was in doing so that I realized what real happiness and true success is all about. And at the end of the day, what I discovered is in this chase to become an entrepreneur in the typical sense and to financially and career-wise to create to reach these goals that I ultimately was able to reach, I discovered what a true entrepreneur is. And what more important business in life than your own life to become the leader? And so that's what we're talking about today. And through this journey, I discovered what it really is to become a leader, to become an owner of your life. And yes, career and finances is one part of the equation, but ultimately it's just 1/5. And so this new venture that I'm taking on involves basically what I call these 5 core areas of life. And so I won't get into it. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more in the panel, but the short gist is the first part of my life was absolutely brutal. I had an awful start in my adolescence. My parents were hippies. My parents got divorced when I was young. My mom was an alcoholic and had a raging temper. And so by the time I got to college, I was your typical victim, sure that life was out to get me. There was nothing I could do about it. And essentially, I was just stuck on autopilot of I'm just going to try to survive and get through. And the thought of reaching, astronomical goals and becoming this person that I would see other people was not even on my radar until I had a serendipitous event in one of my classes where a professor introduced me. He kind of was talking about something else and he just sidestepped and mentioned a book. And I had a lot of respect for this particular professor. I immediately went to the library afterwards. They just so happened to have that book. Had they not, I don't know if my life would have gone this way, but they did. Read the book. It completely changed my perspective on life. That book, by the way, was called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it just made me realize that there's a different way to look at life. You can be it starts with your mindset, and it's basically you can be an owner of your life, you can be a leader, and you basically anything that you want to get, you're able to, and that obstacles are temporary roadblocks waiting for solutions versus that victim role that I had fallen into at that point in my life when I was around 21 years old, which was essentially said, just my brain is broken, life sucks, there's nothing I can do about it. So that was the beginning. And then 25 years later, flash forward, I never stopped using myself, reading these self-help books and using myself as a human science experiment. It was funny, Anne mentioned about the fact that she, wants to be your what did she say? Your co-creator, your co-researcher, co-experimenter. I love that because people can get all the help they can, people need all the help they can get. So that's basically what I did was kind of turn myself into my own human science experiment. And I did it on my own. And then as I started to evolve and grow, I realized how important it was to have other people around you supporting you and whatnot. So, Anne, thank you for what you're doing. And that's so important. So in doing this, I essentially read literally thousands of books. If you saw the notes I've taken over the years, you would probably think that it was fake. Probably like 8 Bibles full of just notes. I've always been this crazy note taker. So I was learning, I was growing, I was testing what worked, what didn't, using these universal principles I was reading. And at the end of the day, what I found out is that while life is complex, principles are not. And in fact, there's really just these 5 main core areas of our lives that everybody shares and that you got to continually nurture and take action on and find balance in order to become the absolute best version of yourself. And as I mentioned, for many years, I thought that it was just this career and this finance. I thought I'm just going to show everybody and become filthy stinking rich. And then, you know, I'll be sitting on a beach having a pina colada and I'll show them all. But then I really realized what the importance was. Once I actually got that, it felt great for all of 10 seconds. And then I said, okay, well, now what? And that's when I kind of already knew, because I've been growing in these other areas. And when I actually sold the company is when it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, wow. First of all, the only reason I was able to sell my company for this amount of money is because I'd actually been firing on all cylinders. I'd been building my course in these other 4 areas. And it was not despite of, but it was because of I was doing this is why I was able to become successful. Had I just focused on career and finances and not taking care of my relationships, by the way, these are the other cores, my relationships, my mindset, my physical health, and my emotional health and giving back, there's no way I would have been able to have that full success. And so that's the point. And that ties all back to this leadership. If you want to be a leader, you have to become a leader of your own life. You need to become an entrepreneur of your own life. You need to treat your life as a business, but instead of finances, human resources, accounting, it's these 5 cores. It's your mindset, it's your career and finances, it's your relationships, it's your physical health, and it's your emotional health and giving back. So moral of the story, you become an owner and a leader of your own life, and you will be able to inspire others and become that leader. And it sounds like these 2 panelists that I'm with have kind of figured that out. I call it the 5%ers versus the 95%ers. It's not an exact equation, but in my experience, only about 5% seem to have figured out that there's these cores and that you got to continually build the habits, taking action, and to become truly successful in life. And it's most people that kind of just tend to focus on 1 or 2, and you'll never be fully fulfilled and happy if that's the route that you end up taking. So it all comes down to habits. We'll probably get into that a little bit in the panel, but at the end of the day, it's about shining a spotlight on these main areas of your life, these 5 main cores, and saying, okay, where do I stand in each of these? And essentially then deciding taking a look at what are the failure habits that I call them, that you've developed in each of these areas, and how do you replace them with what I call success habits. So that's what I've now dedicated my life to doing, to helping people and to essentially use the system that I've created. I've got an app that's coming out later this year. I've also got a book that's going to help you do this. So I'm not just one of these people spouting words and saying, go figure it out. I'm actually practicing what I'm preaching. I've been using this system myself for years, but it's been in an Excel spreadsheet. And so now I'm turning it into an app that's going to be gamified. You're going to be a rocket. You've got these 5 cylinders at the bottom. You're going to different planets, galaxies, exploring different space stations, aliens. And as you continue to level up in the game, you're actually going to be leveling up in real life as well. So I'm using these addictive features that we have that we're using for phones that tend to be used for bad reasons, and hopefully using it for a good reason to help people to excel. So thank you.